You mean to tell Igor that they'd make a Frankenstein movie without Igor? The one person that does all the work, helping the Frankensteins in their creations? It's an outrage! Don't know what's more blasphemy, this movie or the fact that people keep misspelling my name? It's Igor with a Y, not an I! It's not Igor, you idiots! You're dumb! You're all dumb! I'm sorry, guys. I just had to do this. I know we're well past Halloween, but I had to start out this review with my Igor from Dark Universe costume. But yeah, I'm not going to be wearing the wig or the glasses because I don't think I could do the entire review as Igor. And I shouldn't, because Igor is not in this movie. But anyway, hey everyone, it's Alexander Robinson. Welcome to the channel. And this is my review for Frankenstein, the latest adaptation of Mary Shelley's book, this time directed by Guillermo del Toro, because apparently I cannot escape the Frankenstein monster this year. Like I said before, this is another adaptation of Mary Shelley's classic book, Frankenstein and the Modern Prometheus, where we follow Victor Frankenstein, played by Oscar Isaac, as he is destined to try and create life out of death. And he manages to create a creature that he soon rejects. Not initially, but he does chain the monster up, and the monster eventually breaks free and tries to find his place in the world and try to find his creator. Not long ago, I had just finished my retro review series of the classic Universal monster movies, and it was finally an excuse for me to review Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, which are both masterpieces. Not exactly faithful to the Mary Shelley book, though. You could consider these two movies as a part one, part two, because Bride of Frankenstein takes a lot more from the novel that didn't make it in the first movie. And while we all recognize this incarnation of Frankenstein, not just the story, but the monster, there have been other adaptations beyond Universal. There was Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which was directed by Kenneth Branagh and was kind of in line with Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula, which Coppola actually did produce. And then there was Victor Frankenstein, which came out 10 years ago, written by Max Landis, and I hated that movie. Like, it was awful. So now we have Guillermo del Toro's rendition of Frankenstein, which seemed to be a long time coming because he's been a fan of monster movies. He has a collection of Frankenstein stuff. In fact, at LACMA, or at least the old version of the LACMA Museum, I actually got to see Guillermo del Toro's collection, including the giant bust of Boris Karloff's monster. So this almost feels like a culmination of his career. This was actually a movie that was supposed to be made through Universal with Del Toro on board, but they scrapped it in place of the failed Dark Universe. And a little side note before I continue with the review. This same thing happened with Del Toro and Creature from the Black Lagoon. He was supposed to direct a remake of Creature from the Black Lagoon, which seems like the one monster that they're trying to remake but just can't. But that also didn't happen, and Guillermo del Toro instead ended up making The Shape of Water, which is essentially Creature from the Black Lagoon mixed with Beauty and the Beast, and it's a perfect movie in my eyes. But now we come to his adaptation of Frankenstein, and my opinion on this movie is very similar to how I feel about Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I reviewed recently. Although I feel a lot more positive about this movie than I did that one. Like Bram Stoker's Dracula, the greatest strength of Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein is the visual look. The sets are amazing. It has an amazing color palette that you look at it, you instantly can tell it's Guillermo del Toro. The costumes are absolutely stellar, especially everything that Mia Goth wears. I would be shocked if this movie didn't win Best Costume at the Academy Awards. It's that good. And it's also got a really stellar cast. You have Oscar Isaac, Christoph Waltz, Mia Goth, and Jacob Elordi as the creature, not the monster. All the actors are fantastic and give a great performance. Oscar Isaac is fantastic as Victor Frankenstein. You could see his obsession with wanting to create life and the lengths he'll go to achieve it. More than Colin Clive in the Universal series, though, Oscar Isaac's Victor Frankenstein is not really a sympathetic character. When he actually gives the creature life, he doesn't really seem to regard it all that much. He tries to train it, but after a while he chains it up in the basement and is willing to just let it die. So he's a much more ruthless character, which plays into the idea that the monster in Frankenstein is not the actual monster, but the creator. Jacob Elordi is great as the creature. He's very sympathetic, much like other interpretations of the monster, but he's also very vengeful. Unlike the Boris Karloff monster, where he kills people in self-defense and just not knowing what he's doing, this creature is very vengeful, and you see that several times throughout this movie as he starts to evolve as a character, when he starts to speak and develop more of a conscience around him. And when I say vengeful, I mean he is vengeful. The ways he kills people and even animals is so brutal that of course someone like Guillermo del Toro would take it this far. We all saw how violent he ended up being with Shape of Water. However, the only thing I don't like about the creature, and this is probably my biggest criticism of the movie, is how superpowered he is. The movie opens up with an action sequence that, to my knowledge, is not in the original book. It's been a long time since I've read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but the creature is just the superhuman being. It doesn't feel right. It feels like something that Del Toro put into this because he couldn't help himself. But putting that aside, I still think Jacob Elordi does a great job as the creature, and the makeup work is fantastic. Mia Goth is also fantastic as Elizabeth Harlander, and she presents an opposite side to Victor Frankenstein when it comes to new life. When she first encounters the creature, she's very sympathetic towards him, and there's almost kind of a romantic interest between these two characters. I also didn't know this until my dad pointed it out, but Mia Goth also played Frankenstein's mother when he's a child. So that makes 2 horror movies that Mia Goth has been in where she played 2 roles, and one of which was unrecognizable. So props to her and the makeup team for once again fooling me. As for Christoph Waltz, he's not in the movie for a whole lot. I mean, his only function is to basically help fund Frankenstein's experiment to create life, but he's still just as good as he always is in every movie. If I had any other issues with the movie, outside of that opening action scene that's just way too over the top, I'm not a huge fan of the way they kind of cut back and forth to the creature and Victor telling their stories on the ship. It feels like it just kind of stops the movie for a bit, and there's no purpose. Now, I have no problem at all with this movie telling the story from 2 perspectives, where the first half is Victor's story, the other half is the creature's story, because the way it's done is really clever and creative. It's kind of similar to how Frankenstein from 1931 was Henry's story, whereas Bride of Frankenstein was about the monster and his story. So making the movie 2 halves was really well done, but just cutting back to the ship occasionally, it was kind of a distraction. And given that both characters narrate their side of the story, you didn't need to cut back to show them walking around the ship and interacting with the captain. Despite those issues though, this is a movie that has gotten better the more I've had time to think about it. I actually did get the chance to see this movie in a theater with a friend of mine, and my friend has actually gone from disliking this movie, so next time I see them, I'm really curious to hear their opinion on it. But for me, I say it's worth seeing in your lifetime. It's a great retelling of the Frankenstein story that only Guillermo del Toro can do. The visual look is outstanding. Alexandre Desplat's score is fantastic. And if you have the chance to somehow see this in a theater, which at this point is probably unlikely, please do so, because this is a movie that deserves the big screen treatment. Considering how many movies Netflix has made, and they've made a lot to the point where I don't even know if they're aware of how many movies they make, there are just some that deserve the big screen treatment. Like, this is one of them. Rian Johnson's Wake Up Dead Man is another. It's perplexing that Netflix brings in these critically acclaimed directors, but they don't give them the big screen treatment that they deserve outside of a limited release. So if you have the chance to see this movie in theaters, take that opportunity. But if not, and Netflix is your only option, dim the lights, put away your phone, close the curtains, and just pretend that you're in a movie theater and you just happen to be sitting far away from this giant screen. And there you go, that's my review for Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I want to give a special thank you to my subscribers and YouTube members right over here. You guys are the reason why this channel continues to grow every day, and if you want to help to financially support the channel, you could do so via YouTube memberships for as little as $1.99 a month. But until next time, I want to know what you guys think about Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Whatever your opinion is, let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell button to get notifications. If you want to find me elsewhere on the internet, you can find me on these social media platforms and my theme park and travel channel right here on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next video, but until then, have a good day and take care of yourselves.